everybody. Welcome again to another live episode of Wall Street Unspun. This is Wednesday, November 19th, 2008. Welcome aboard. I'd like to thank everybody who came to the New Orleans Investment Conference. I just got back from that. It's always good fun going to New Orleans. If you missed me in New Orleans and you live on the West Coast in particular, I will be speaking on the weekend following Thanksgiving, November 30th through December 1st, at the San Francisco Hard Assets Investment Conference. And I will be doing the keynote address at the conference, but then I also have my own 2-hour seminar that I'm going to be holding at the event. So if you can't make the entire event, at least try to make that if you're in the Bay Area, or it's even worth flying up. San Francisco is always a great city. I know it's on a holiday weekend, so it might be difficult for people to make last-minute travel plans. But if you've already booked your reservations and if you're planning on attending the Hard Assets Conference, I will see you there. Anyway, I'm taking calls live. The number to call, 888-678-9597, 888-678-9597. Well, the bad news just continues to roll in for the U.S. economy. Obviously, nothing here is shocking. We made new lows across the board today for the move. The NASDAQ hit a new 5 or 6 year low. We're at 1,386. We have only about 200 points left to fall on the NASDAQ to take out the low in, I think, 2001 or 2002 low, which was around 1,100. The Dow closed below 800. The S&P closed just over 800, down another 52 points. All the financials made new lows. The likes of Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. Remember, Bank of America bought out Countrywide, and when they did that, I thought that Bank of America was going to go bankrupt. Then they went and they bought Merrill Lynch, and I really thought they would go bankrupt. And it looks like they're headed there. Anyway, the stock was down another 14% today, new multi-year lows. All the home builders at new lows. Many of the other types of stocks, tech stocks, hit new lows today across the board. But, gold, which was up $25 this morning, and the dollar was way, way down following weak economic data, what happened was, as the market sold off, gold sold off and the dollar rallied. So again, it seems that this trade is continuing, the liquidation trade, where when things are being sold, everything is being sold. But obviously, at some point, the dollar is going to decouple from the U.S. stock market. There's no way that terrible, horrific economic news and a collapsing market is good for the dollar. But I think what's happening, again, is this is massive liquidation of stocks by bankrupt or near bankrupt U.S. equities that are desperate for cash, and as they're selling their stocks around the world, they have to sell the currencies in which those stocks trade in order to repatriate the money and pay their margin calls, pay their creditors. And once this giant margin call, and basically the United States is getting the mother of all margin calls, and once it's over, I think these stocks around the world are going to snap back, and I think the dollar is going to fall like a stone. And in the meantime, we've just got to take advantage of this gift horse of an unexpected windfall to be able to buy these stocks at these valuations and to be able to get rid of your dollars at such favorable exchange rates, especially considering what has happened already in this economy and what is going to happen. Also, if you're watching these hearings, the GM bailout hearings continue to go on as General Motors is trying to convince the government to give them billions of dollars so they can flush that down the toilet with all the rest. I don't know. I think that if they don't bail them out, the short-term effects will be worse than if they do bail them out as far as for the market. But ultimately, in the long run, the right thing to do is to let these companies go bankrupt and let new management come in and reorganize everything and restructure the pay for employees and benefits and all that, and have some profitable manufacturing emerge from this. But with all the new taxes and new regulations and things the government is doing, they might inhibit that, and it could just be a collapse even if they let them go bankrupt. But it's not just General Motors. There are dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds or thousands of U.S. companies that are either going to go bankrupt in the next several years or are going to dramatically downsize their businesses, lay off a lot of people, get rid of a lot of capacity. And, we got the CPI number that came out today. I think it was a big drop like a 1 full percentage point. But, you know, the reason that the CPI is falling now is that a lot of companies they're going out of business sales, and a lot of companies are slashing prices to move inventory because things are so bad. But, you know, once all the going out of business sales are over and once the inventory is liquidated, how are they going to replace it? Right, in the future, stores are going to buy far fewer products. They're going to plan for a weak market. They're not going to buy nearly as much stuff, and they're going to try to sell it at much higher prices, and that's how they're going to try to gain some profitability and stay in stay in business. So enjoy these low prices while you can. They're not going to last. Of course, this is fooling a lot of people out there into thinking that deflation is the problem, meaning falling prices. That ain't going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. Obviously, we are having deflation in the normal sense of defining it, meaning a contraction of credit, right? Where we had an inflationary boom in credit, now there's a deflationary bust. But as far as the effect of this on consumer prices, and when everybody talks about deflation, they're talking about falling consumer prices, and that's not deflation. We're not going to have falling consumer prices. Consumer prices are going into the stratosphere because our money is going to lose value. The Federal Reserve is creating inflation to try to reflate the bursting asset bubbles and to try to rekindle more spending. And they're going to get it. Well, Americans are going to spend lots of money. Unfortunately, they're not going to buy much with it. That's going to be the problem. We're going to have record consumer spending, but it's all going to be on the basic necessities of life because the basic necessities are going to cost a fortune, and we're going to have to spend all the money the government is printing but not really buy very much. Hard to say exactly when the turn is going to come. You know, the dollar was looking very toppy this morning, but then again we had that big rally. But in the meantime, we can't pay attention to the short term. We can't pay attention to current market valuations. We have to pay attention to the big picture and play to win the game, and that's what we're doing. You know, I looked, there was somebody that posted something on one of these websites in response to that video. If you haven't seen the YouTube video, which somebody put together about me, and I saw it, I thought it was good, and I sent out the link to our database. And, you know, our database now is over 100,000 names. But when I sent out the email, maybe about 10 or 15,000 people went on YouTube and watched it. But then a couple of other people must have sent it around or put it on other websites. And now, since Saturday, so over the past 3 or 4 days, we now have 330,000 people that have seen that video. Unbelievable. And it's really making the rounds. A lot of people have seen it. I've gotten calls. All the traders on the New York Stock Exchange have been watching it, a number of people. And so it's making the rounds. If you haven't seen it, you just go to YouTube and Google Peter Schiff was right, Peter Schiff, and it should come right up there. Or if you just do Peter Schiff and you have them display the videos, you know, most viewed, and it will come up as one of the top ones of me with over 330,000 views thus far. And obviously, you know, if you view it, you know, try to send it out to some people. I'd like to see if we can crank this thing up. What if I get 1 million people watch this video? But somebody put it up to try to say that, hey, you know, I'm just a stop clock. I've been wrong for 5 years. And they put up a video that you can also see on my website. It was a TV show I did in Orange County in 2002. And back then, I was talking about the problems with adjustable rate mortgages, the problems that we had big current account deficits, that we were spending too much money, that we had too much debt. I was laying out the problems 5 years ago. And this person is trying to say, because I talked about the problems 5 years ago and everything was fine until just recently, that somehow I was wrong. That I was wrong in 2002, I was wrong in 2003, I was wrong in 2004, and now that everything is falling apart, you know, that I should be able to get credit for it. And this shows you how people just don't understand.